Looking. Curry gets free. Curry puts up a three.
Looking for revenge.
Bang!
If I had told you that Stephen Curry dropped 38 points, hit multiple shots in the clutch, Wiggins had a good game, and the Lakers, their opponent, was missing Anthony Davis, you'd probably think the Warriors had won the game. But they didn't. Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Swish Culture. Something is very wrong in Golden State. To come up as empty-handed as they did in a game where Steph Curry had almost 40 is unacceptable. At this point, there are some rather tough questions for the franchise to start asking. Last video, we talked about Steve Kerr's decision-making, how it affected Jonathan Kuminga, and how he responded.
Scoring streak alive. Kuminga! Oh, wow! There's a stocking stuffer right there.
This extended to Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, as well as what the team can hope to get from these guys moving forward. On the other side of the same coin, these decisions have to start with the coaching staff acknowledging the issue and the front office executing. Today's video will follow up with a problem that is looming largely over the team at this point, and unless those things change, the Warriors will continue to be a mediocre team, or maybe even worse. The issue is so obvious, I'm not sure why I didn't call it out directly for what it is. Stay tuned to find out more. Before that, however, be sure to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. Now get ready. You're about to get The Warriors started the season going 12-3, for reasons I've discussed in prior videos and will continue in this current video. Since then, they've gone 3-11 in a total about turn on the first 15 games of the season. This is a rather drastic change and clearly a shift in identity. Steve Kerr is an interesting NBA coach. His philosophy is based on some simple metrics: veterans, ball movement, threes and layups, read and react. Now, this is a rather sound philosophy to approach the idea of coaching a modern team to win. The problem is that this concept doesn't work in all situations all the time. Additionally, if you keep using it without adjustment, you are bound to fail and will do so in spectacular fashion. Let's start at the top. Veterans. The thought behind this is that the Warriors are giving second option preference to Draymond Green despite him not being a viable second option. In order to flesh out why this doesn't make sense, let's have a look at what took place in the fourth quarter. I watched a lineup of Schroeder, Pods, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Trace give the Lakers lineup with LeBron James major work. The Warriors trailed by 9 points, more or less, for the majority of the fourth quarter. They started the quarter with Steph, Pods, Payton II, Kuminga, and Green. Now keep in mind that the Lakers had no Anthony Davis present. Davis played all of 7 minutes and was unable to score as he got shut down by TJD. Jokes aside, it seems Davis might have gotten injured in the first quarter, so there the Lakers were, without a rim protector, vulnerable and relying on an outside shooter in Dalton Connect to play the 5. This setup lends itself well to a pick-and-roll type action. The Warriors struggled during this period until Steve Kerr possibly unknowingly tipped the balance in the Warriors' favor. He inserted Wiggins into the lineup to replace GP2, swapped in Trace for Draymond Green, as well as Schroeder in for Steph Curry. This lineup was able to get 3 stops in a row, locking up the Lakers and cutting the lead down to 3. A single possession game. Steve would then sub Steph Curry and Draymond Green back into the game to replace Pods and Kuminga. This sub pattern is more two-timeline-ish than anything and is actually worse for the team. As you watch the video, you'll see why. Immediately after the substitution, the Lakers went on an explosive run, opening the lead back up to 10 points with only 3.5 minutes remaining on the clock. So what happened? Based on those post-game interviews, we often hear how important it is to stick with the group that's playing well.
Yeah, he was playing great, and his normal time to go back in would have been around the 5-6 minute mark. And Wiggs was playing great. We were rolling. We're up 18, 19, whatever it was. And so we just stayed with him. And then at that point, it didn't feel, like it was the right thing to do. He'd been sitting for a while. So I stayed with the group that was out there.
Well, that clearly didn't happen here. Throughout the game, however, I had a theory, and it was related to the fact that Draymond was not in the game today. Facts, he had some great defensive plays, but he wasn't locked in. When Steve put him in for JK, the Warriors lost a huge part of their offensive versatility. Draymond is giving you a big 0 on offense. Watch Draymond closely. Despite not being a shooter, no one benefits more off Steph Curry's gravity than Draymond Green. Because players are so focused on guarding Steph, they don't care if Draymond has the ball. They will stay in guarding position while their teammate face guards Steph Curry to keep him out of the play. This is Steph's gravity at work, where the fact that Draymond isn't providing an offensive threat is used against Steph Curry. As long as they keep Draymond from being able to advance into the paint, they don't need to apply any ball pressure, effectively making him a statue on offense, which brings me to my next point. Draymond, more than anyone else, benefits from Steph Curry's off-ball movement. This is why Steve Kerr runs the motion offense. Without it, Draymond becomes completely useless. While Dre can dribble the ball in transition, he can't dribble in the half court if his path to the rim is blocked, and he can only rely on Curry to get himself open so he can complete the pass. Since the Warriors are treating Draymond like a second option, they need to run the motion offense in order for Draymond to be of any use. Motion is great for a bunch of young guys that can run and gun, and while Curry is capable of running and gunning, he doesn't have the ability to make up for what Draymond is lacking. While he was able to get by Rudy Gobert on that one play to close out the game, these young and athletic wings are now better able to stay with him, even blocking his scoring attempts on drives to the basket. So while I was with Steve Kerr on subbing pods out to get Curry back in, I wasn't exactly agreeing with taking Kuminga out because the group on the floor were giving the Lakers more than they could handle. Steve did eventually put Jonathan Kuminga back into the game next to Draymond Green at the 5. And while this group was able to whittle the lead back down, they needed some hero ball from Steph Curry in the clutch in order to tie the game. Those last 3 minutes should have been used to attack the basket with pick and roll action, utilizing Schroeder, Kuminga, Wiggins, and Trace with Curry as the wild card. We know they're going to double him, but if Kerr attacked inside out, the Warriors could have gotten much easier baskets considering they didn't have to worry about Anthony Davis. They would never have needed Curry to play hero, and no one was getting through Kuminga, Wiggins, and Trace. Speaking of Trace, what he did against Anthony Davis was by far one of his best performances to date. If the Warriors can get this version of TJD for the rest of the season, that 5 spot belongs to him. And not only that, that's the type of player they need come playoffs. Now it seems that Steve Kerr giving the nod to Trace at the 5 is doable, and he let Trace play through a few mistakes. But if he insists on playing Jonathan Kuminga at the 4, he's going to have to put Draymond Green on the bench. Draymond is an offensive liability, an availability liability, a threat to throw close games, and overall not able to function at a level required for the motion offense to be successful. If you recall that just a couple games ago, Draymond dropped a big 0 in 19 minutes. He was 0-4 from the field, 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds. There's no way JK is getting back into the starting lineup following a performance like that. Yet that's exactly what Steve Kerr did. The Warriors' coaching appears to be one step behind the 8 ball, though. This decline in Draymond's abilities reminds me of the fall-off with Klay Thompson. Instead of taking the players as they are, considering he thinks they're all talented, he's taking players for who they were. Great for veterans, but this sucks for young players. Unless your name is Pajemski. That's pretty much the only exception I've seen. Unless Steve Kerr does what he needs to do, and that is to put Draymond Green on the bench, the Warriors will continue to struggle. They need to adapt to the new identity that's sitting right there in the locker room. If Kerr insists on having Schroeder as a starter, he'll need to have Kuminga to balance out the offense. You can't have Trace as the only lob threat and Wiggins as the only slasher. You needed a secondary ball handler for a reason. Now that there is one, Draymond is not necessary in the starting lineup and holding this team back. As a matter of fact, he almost shot the team out of the game in the first quarter. Stop treating him like a second option when it is clear he is not. That is the first step the Warriors need to take in order to show up in the win column on a regular basis. We'll discuss the remaining aspects of Steve Kerr's coaching philosophy through the next few videos. Let me know if you guys agree with me though. Should the team be in panic mode? Is Kerr ignoring the obvious, or does he just not realize what's happening with his players? Is he just a stubborn coach, or should they just trade the young guys to see if they can get more juice out of Dre? If so, post your thoughts in the comments below and let me know who you think they should get. Before that, however, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.